Hey everyone, and welcome back to Book Lovers Unite. Today, we are tackling an absolute giant. You know the one, that iconic purple book you see in every single airport bookstore on the planet? Yep, we're diving into Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This book is, without a doubt, one of the most popular and polarizing personal finance books ever written. People either swear by it or, well, they swear at it. So today, we're going to break down the core ideas and figure out what all the fuss is really about. Okay, so what makes this book so effective? I think its genius is that it's not some dry, boring textbook. It's a story. Kiyosaki built his entire financial philosophy around this simple narrative of his two dads, who had completely opposite views on money. And you can see the difference crystal clear right here. On one side, you have his real dad, the poor dad. Super educated guy, PhD, but his whole philosophy was about job security. His advice? Study hard so you can find a good company to work for. Then you have Rich Dad, his friend's father. His advice was totally different. Study hard so you can find a good company to buy. That one little shift in language, that's basically the whole book in a nutshell. And this right here gets to the heart of it all. Kiyosaki argues that wealth isn't really about your bank account balance. It starts between your ears. It's all about your mindset. His poor dad would always say things like, I can't afford it, which just, shuts your brain down. But Rich Dad would flip it into a question, how can I afford it? And that simple change forces your brain to start looking for solutions. It's a total game changer. All right, listen up. If you forget everything else from this review, please remember this next part. This is Kiyosaki's #1 most important rule. It's the one simple test he uses for everything related to money. So forget whatever complex definition you learned in business class. According to Rich Dad, an asset is dead simple. It's anything that puts money in your pocket. Period. That's it. A rental property that sends you a check every month? That's an asset. Dividend stocks that pay you just for owning them? Asset. And on the flip side, you've got liabilities. And yeah, you guessed it, a liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. That nice car with the monthly payments, the insurance, the gas, liability. It's just a constant drain with money flowing away from you. Okay, here it is. This is the part of the book that makes people's heads explode. Let's apply that super simple rule to the biggest purchase most people ever make, their home. Think about it. You've got the mortgage, property taxes, insurance, repairs. Every single month, money is flying out of your pocket. So by this rule, your house is a liability. I know. It's the book's most controversial idea by far. So what happens when you spend your life buying liabilities that you think are assets? Well, you get stuck. You end up trapped in what Kiyosaki famously called the rat race. And this cycle probably sounds way too familiar. You get a job because you're scared of not having money. Then you get paid and you want to buy stuff, so you spend it. Then you get a raise, awesome, so you upgrade your car or move to a bigger house. But now your expenses are higher, which means you're even more dependent on that job. You're just running faster and faster on that little hamster wheel, but you're not actually going anywhere. So how do you get off the rat wheel? This quote is the key. It's the big secret. Most of us work for money. We trade our time for a paycheck. But the rich, they do the opposite. They make their money work for them. They do it by buying those assets we just talked about, the things that generate income for them, even while they sleep. His solution to all this is a phrase, mind your own business. And no, he doesn't mean be nosy. What he's saying is that you have to understand the difference between your profession, your job, and your business. Your job pays the bills. Your business is your asset column. The whole goal is to use the income from your job to build your business, to buy more and more things that put money back into your pocket. Now, we've gone through the big ideas, but let's be real for a minute. This book is not a holy text, and no review would be complete without talking about the criticisms, because there are some really valid ones out there. Probably the biggest knock on the book is that it's all what and no how. It gets you super motivated, but it's really vague on the specific step-by-step actions. It also promotes some pretty high-risk strategies using debt that could absolutely blow up in your face. And oh yeah, there's a very good chance that Rich Dad wasn't even a real person. But here's the thing. Does it really matter if it's a fable? For millions and millions of people, this book was the first time anyone ever challenged the old, traditional rules of money. So its true power isn't as a financial playbook, but as a tool that triggers a radical shift in your thinking. It's a starting point, not the finish line. So now I've got to turn it over to you. After hearing all this, what's your take on that big controversial question? Based on Rich Dad's rule, is your primary home a liability or an asset? I'm genuinely curious to hear what you think, so drop your answer down in the comments below. And hey, if this review gave you a new way to think about things, do me a huge favor and hit that like button. It really helps the channel out. And of course, make sure you subscribe to Book Lovers Unite so you don't miss our next deep dive. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next one.